Let's Chat is brought to you by the CARICOM Business Network.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Let's Chat. I'm your host this evening, Trevor Dan Paul, coming to you live from the CARICOM Business Network studios located in Queens, New York. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Tuesday. I know we just got hit with a huge snowstorm. I hope everyone recovered from that. With that being said, we have an exciting show for you guys. I want to thank you for joining us this evening. We have a very, very special panel this evening. Um, let's go ahead and see what we got here. We have some very special guests standing by. I'm going to go ahead and take the time to bring Michelle Mosley on the chat. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Michelle Mosley. Good evening, Michelle. Welcome to the show.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. I feel as though I've come back home. I was here before, and now I'm
Yes.
back. So thank you for having me.
Yes, no worries, no worries. I did tell you the last time you were on the show, come back anytime. The first time you were on here, I had such a wonderful time with you, getting to know you, all the fun stuff that you're doing. It's a pleasure to have you back here. I know you got some fun stuff that you're working on, and we're about to share it with our viewers. So, how you been from the last time you were on the show?
Well, let's put it this way. I've been to Guyana and back since we spoke. I just came back from Guyana. I'm actually going to be headed back there shortly because, I work in Guyana quite a bit. And we've not been as buried in snow as you guys have been. So thank you so much. Keep it there. We appreciate it. We did have quite a bit of snow, but I think you guys are really getting it this time. So, sorry.
Awesome. So the
In
back and
terms
forth with Guyana, you must have some pretty important things going on over there, huh?
well, I was just talking with someone, and what I was saying to that person, because she asked pretty much the same question, she said, "You must be rolling it in." And I said, "No, it's what it is. It's about relationship building. In any kind of business, you do have to sacrifice. I'm sinking funds like crazy, but I'm
Uh,
also sinking. I'm sinking into relationship building because you can go in as a transaction one-off, and that's all it would be. But when you get to know people at their level, they get to know you, and you build that trust factor. It is quite important, and that's what I'm working on. And it's going well. I was in Guyana for about 5 days 2 weeks ago, and it was meeting after meeting after meeting, and it was fantastic. And again, it's all business building with a bit of a long-term view in mind.
Exactly. Everything that you do, it has to be a long-term goal, and I'm happy that things are working out for you. I'm a Guyanese boy myself, love it out there. So tell me, what did you experience the most in Guyana on this particular trip?
On this particular trip, I did meetings back to back. I got it on Saturday. I got it on the Saturday around maybe 2 p.m. And my first meeting was at 6 p.m. Yeah, I mean, albeit it was in a nice area. It was at the Marriott, right? And so
Oh,
it's
wow,
always nice.
fancy.
Well, yeah. And then I had a meeting on Sunday. And again, that was the Marriott. Marriott, Guyana, Kingston. I hope you're hearing me. And and then it was Monday, and I attended. I had 3 meetings in the office. Well, I work out of my husband's office while I'm there, and
Okay.
and it was nonstop. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday morning we're on the plane. And just before we got on the
Wow.
plane, I had an 8 o'clock meeting, 8 a.m., and then rush off directly to the airport. But it was very encouraging. Let's put it that way.
That's fantastic. Now, for the good folks in Guyana, I know what you're doing is going to benefit them in some way. As we go on later on the show, we'll elaborate a little bit more on that. But props to you. I do have the slider here at the bottom, right for hope. That's something that we will be discussing later on the show for you guys who saw the flyer promoting. It's great stuff. We're about to bring on our second guest. Are you ready for that, Michelle?
Absolutely, absolutely. But I
Fantastic.
want to make sure that I can introduce this gentleman, who is a fantastic endurance rider, and I call him a fundraiser extraordinaire. And
Mm.
we have I've had the distinct pleasure of working with him. out of the investment firm. We worked as co-branch manager, and then I became his branch manager. So there you go, Mr. Harry. And the thing is that he's very passionate about his work. And his work as a financial advisor, it kind of just seeped over into what he was doing, for example, here in Canada, working with or raising funds and writing on behalf of the Princess Margaret Hospital, Right for Cancer. And and what spilled over, he will tell you a bit more about what spilled over, but it became almost like the catalyst for his writing gig, let's put it that way. And we want to
Uh,
take some of that and put it into Guyana. And so today we're so very, very pleased to have two persons. I'm going to introduce them at the same time. Harry
okay.
Lasseron, who is the writer extraordinaire, and of course from the MSM Global, because we will be headlining this event in Guyana. We have our creative director, Shondi Lois.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Harry and Shondell.
Shondi.
Shondi. Welcome,
Ah,
guys. Good evening. Welcome to the show, y'all.
thank you. Thank you for
Evening.
having us.
Good evening.
You're very
Thank you,
welcome.
Michelle, for that wonderful introduction. Amazing. Appreciate that. And glad to be on your show tonight.
Awesome. No worries. You can thank Michelle for all of that. She had wonderful things to say about you. That introduction was phenomenal. She went in there, man. So, I'm going to put it over to you now. Tell us why she's so passionate about you, why she's excited to have you being part of the show and all of that fun stuff.
Well, as Michelle mentioned, thank you again, Michelle. Very much appreciate that warm intro. We worked together at a financial firm for a few years. And like she said, I was the branch manager. Then she became my branch manager. And prior to Michelle coming on board, I was actually passionate writer, fundraising for Princess Margaret cancer research in Toronto. And we've been doing that for the last 16 years. And the reason I got involved with that was because of the amounts of critical illness claims that I've paid being a financial advisor to people. And I've seen how, devastated families have been. And I became very passionate about the ride. And that led to 16 years later, me going to Guyana. And I'll tell you about that when the question comes up. So, yeah, that's where it started.
Awesome. I just want to give a quick shout out to Mr. William Mosley. He says, "Good evening, guys. Let's do this. Harry can't wait for the event."
Correct. Very true. I feel like a little kid again. I'm so excited. I actually scouted the road in Guyana in the last 2 weeks from one end to the other end with the
Mm,
route. So yeah, it's gonna be fun.
interesting. And this is the first time you've gonna be, doing the whole Guyana thing.
Yes, it
Okay.
will be the first time. Actually, I'll tell you a little bit about how this all got started for Guyana. And like Michelle said, I'm very passionate about things that I do and I get really involved. I actually went back to Guyana in 2024 after 30 plus years for a lot of closure on my past as a young man growing up. And I sat on my grandfather's veranda and I had a lot of flashback, a lot of memories, and it just awoke in me. Say, look, I'm here for closure, but this looked like a new beginning of things that I can do, volunteering my time and help the people of Guyana from what I see and the changes that are happening. And I thought about it, and I said, you know what? Wouldn't it be amazing if I do a ride in Guyana for some sort of awareness, just like I do in Canada for the mass amount of people that suffer cancer. And there's so
Right.
many things that are happening in Guyana that I see. And I said, well, how can I contribute a little bit of what I can do, whether it's volunteering and my time? And I thought about the ride, and it was in the back of my head since 2024. And then I
Mm.
think later last year, I approached Michelle and I said, hey, Michelle, what do you think about this? Can we do this?
And what did she
And
say? What his
well,
exact words was?
She said, Harry, I am so excited and I am so glad that you thought about me and I would love to do it. And I said to
Yes.
her,
Awesome.
Michelle, it will be your baby and I will be your.
And that's pretty much how the conversation went. And right down to Harry saying, and you know what, Michelle, you could go with the cause, and I'm happy to write for it. And I said, well, you know what? The Minister of Human Services last year sent me a message saying, can you create your orange corner for the 16 days of activism? And I said, Harry, this is so timely. We're going to do, right
Yes.
for gender-based violence awareness. It's such a hot button topic in Guyana. And I said, I think that's where we're going. And so that's what we decided on.
Yes.
Awesome.
And just to jump in there, I did a little research, Michelle, and I found out that we're planning to do the ride in October around the 24th,
Yes.
and it's 30 days before gender-based violence awareness globally. So this will be
Yes.
a good ride into that. So
Definitely.
it will be fun.
We actually spoke about that, Harry, and I thought I'd mention it, but I guess it's just between us in the MSM team. We actually spoke about the
Yes.
timeliness of that. I wanna jump. This is the Harry show, like I said before, but I want to jump and kind of segue over to the girl who has a team of about 8 interns that is making it happen in terms of putting things out into the social media atmosphere, and she's going to be instrumental in putting out the narrative. And we just knighted her the creative communication and marketing director. She was originally a creative director, but she's just stepped into all three of those areas, and she's manning it. And the interns that she's working with, they absolutely adore her. And I'm talking about Shondi, and I'm not too sure why she's disappeared. Oh, there she is. I'm talking about Shondi. So, Shondi, could you just share a bit with regards to what it is that you and your team are doing? And well, look at me taking Trevor's seat. I'm so accustomed to doing the interview. I'm sorry, Trevor. But here we
No, no,
go. So,
go ahead.
so please let us know a little bit about what it is that
Um,
your creative team is going to do.
Okay, so first of all, just want to take the opportunity to say thank you for having me here today. I do not take this opportunity for granted. And Harry, thank you so much for presenting this to MSM. It is such a huge opportunity for us as we are scaling our business as well. So thank you for that. And I think it's pretty important, Michelle is from Guyanese descent as well. I'm from the Caribbean myself, Grenada. And I think this is so timely because I just the other day, like just this month, we had two domestic violence happening in Grenada, which is very unusual for us. And this was men raping and killing.
Wow.
One was a rape and killing, and then the other was another murder. So it was
Yeah.
pretty. I thought it was pretty timely, and I said, you know what? I think we also will have to do something for Grenada. Just throwing that
Well,
out there,
yeah.
Harry. You might have to man the roads and the map for Grenada,
No.
but I think it's something that is so important, and especially that MSM, we are community based as well. We want to be known. We're out there putting our best foot forward and supporting women and girls, not only women and girls, but that's one of our major focus with women empowerment. So that's pretty huge for us. In terms of the creative marketing and communication side, what will our narrative is really and truly supporting and putting awareness out there for people who do not have the help or even the necessities or the access to the information that they need. Hopefully, this ride will provide that for them. And of course, following up with that, we'll have other things coming up. Um, so this is why we're here too, right? So that we can push the event and have people on board with us, coming out to support us in numbers and help us to get to that place that we need to be. So definitely we'll be pushing content, but not just content for content's sake, but genuinely caring about the importance and what is happening over there in Guyana and the diaspora on on a larger scale.
Awesome. Well said.
Awesome.
That is phenomenal. It seems, Michelle, that you have a great team behind you, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be a huge success. Now, I did tell you earlier that we are here to help as much as we can. We'll be more than happy to promote every single step of this stage because we have till October 24th, right? Until the event, goes off. We'll be more than happy to provide people with all the updates as they come about as progress in the stage of actually making it happen. We'd love to be the CARICOM Business Network, love to be an integral part of putting the word out there and all that fun stuff. So you can count on us for your support.
Thank you.
That will be helpful. Thank you.
Awesome. No worries. No worries. So let's go back to Harry. Let's put Harry in the hot spot, the man of the moment right now. So, Harry, how did you get involved in the whole cycling thing? Was this something that you had, as growing up? Like, I grew up in Guyana, having a bicycle was a huge factor. If you had a bicycle, you feel like a king. So, did this happen to you from since back then, or is something as you grew, it kind of, happened?
Well, great question. And you know, my first bike was, I think, when I was 15 or 16 years old as a teenager. And I used to ride from Guyana, Port Moran to Rosal, Quarantine Barbies, Region 6 on a larger scale, just for fun. And just recently, when I went to Guyana, I was actually talking to a classmate when we were in high school in Guyana, and we had this conversation about when we were in high school, owning a bike was the thing. Nobody ever thought about owning a car, and to own a
Right.
bike is like owning a car in Guyana. And his first car was when he was 47 years old,
Wow.
and my first bike was, and he said to me, yeah, owning a bike was it. But to owning that bike and riding was like being one with nature for me then. And I left it off as something that, okay, you know how to ride a bike. And 2015, when we got approached by Princess Margaret to actually do this ride for cancer, and they talked about 2 day ride over 230 kilometer. I'm like, yeah, that's nice. Oh, I don't think so. My boss kind of twist my arm and roll me in the program and said, "You're doing it." And then I actually said, "Well, yeah, I guess I'm going to do it if you're doing it." And I registered. I bought my first bike, and I still have that first bike. And actually, that's the bike I'm going to use in Guyana also, which I've
Wow.
owned since 2015. It's amazing bike. And if you look at the picture, actually, that Michelle we use on that flyer, I'll tell you a little bit about that. Is from the whole team, I was the first person that came in to the finish line, and it was pouring rain. And after the ride was over, my boss said to me, "Why did you leave the team and rode alone?" I said, "Well, in the last hour of the ride, it started to rain, and I was scared. I was afraid that I wouldn't make it to the finish line, and I didn't know where everybody was. And I just kept going. And that's where that picture came, and that's where it all started. 2015, that ride. And I made a promise to him. I said to him, you know what? Thanks for getting me involved in this. And as long as I have health, I'm going to continue to ride and keep doing this. And then, like I said, 2024, when I went to Guyana, I looked at it and I said, you know what? Maybe there's something here I would be interested in doing.
Wow. That's amazing.
I think
So,
it's such, if I could jump in here for a bit, sorry, Trevor. I think it's one of the things that Harry has not mentioned. And I don't know if we plan to mention it later, Harry, but I think it's so important for everyone to understand that with the writing, Harry, I know you might have been scared in that first ride, but Harry is so passionate. Harry's so passionate that he actually infused in me the same amount of passion. I can't ride a lick, but I went out and bought a bike. And and that bike, and I know. And William was with me. William being my husband, he was with me. We went to buy the bike, and I promise you, I never sat on that bike. My son did have a really good time riding it around. But you know what? It was just Harry's enthusiasm and his, it was so very infectious. It caught on. And one thing that Harry, like I said, that you haven't mentioned is Harry um, raised what is probably the equivalent about 40 million Guyana dollars for Princess Margaret. And so I think that's a big, huge
Yes.
deal when it comes to, fundraising. He's already after me. Michelle, do we have the charity set up here in Canada? And I suspect it's because he's already has people that he's eyeballing. So that's the reason why I call him the fundraiser extraordinaire. So I don't want you to undersell yourself in this, Harry. This is a big deal. This is an important initiative, but this is a guy who is passionate about
Yes.
this. And that's the reason why we're glad to work along with him.
Thank you,
Awesome.
Michelle, for those kind
Definitely.
words. Yes, I do get passionate, and there are quite a few people that I've actually inspired to actually get involved in writing, and it's actually become a part of their lifestyle because of the health reason. And the fundraising, it's me telling the stories to people. It's being passionate about it, explaining to
Right.
them, saying, look, this is the cost, these are people who've gone through it. And I'm glad we came up with that gender-based violence thing about Guyana, because I'm actually very passionate about that too. Being a teenager, growing up in Guyana, and I left Guyana in the 80s, and I've actually went back, just came back 3 weeks ago, 50 years
Nice.
later. Not much has changed. I've listened to parents verbally abuse their young kids. I've seen adults done it, and it's just because of education, awareness, knowing when to say no, and it goes on. So I'm not going to take that away from you guys. So it's like I'm becoming more and more passionate as I research the
Yes.
gender-based violence in Guyana, which is basically, from the research, it shows that like
Mhm.
55% of women in Guyana between the age of 15 to 64 will
Yes.
at least once suffer some sort of violence. That's a
True,
huge
true.
number. So
It
I'm
is.
becoming more and more passionate. And as I start doing this, and when we do this right in October, I'm hoping that every year thereafter, we can continue doing it. And I will bring riders that will ride with me, and will probably
Awesome.
see the cost too. So spreading the news is where we will go.
Awesome. You got a rider here. If things work out and I'm there, I'm probably find a BMX in Guyana. I'll join you. No, I got a quick follow up on what you just said. You just came from Guyana and you saw that it's still going on with the abuse and stuff. Do you realize that these people, when they do it, they're not conscious of actually what they're doing? It's just something come natural. They grow up with it and it's just a normal thing. And if you go
Yes.
try to explain to them, it causes a big problem and it's
Yes.
it gets out of control. So what I think, and I'm very passionate, I will support you guys on this, is to create a general knowledge of what is acceptable and what is not. I think that's the way we need to get to them and to change the new generation coming up to understand, hey, this has been going on for them, but you don't have to join that cycle. You
Yes.
can actually evolve. Knowledge is power. Learn what is right, what is appropriate, what is not, and go with that. Learn from them, and we can break this curse. I call it a curse because I'm grateful that I actually I end up leaving Guyana at an early age, and I got to learn because I would have probably been in the same circle, and somebody come to tell me, hey, I would probably be in the same situation. It's awareness, it's knowledge, and I think we can make a change by bringing the awareness out and spreading the word. Secondly, um, the right for cancer and stuff. It's a sensitive topic universally. I've known people died from cancer. how did you get into the whole cancer thing? Is it something that just happened to come about, or did you experience it firsthand, third hand, or by association, whatever? Because I do, trust me, I know it's a very sensitive topic, and I don't mean to step on toes, but I think the viewers, would like to know how come it is for cancer and all of that.
Very sensitive, very good question. Um, I've been in the financial service industry for over 25 years, and I wrote a lot of critical illness insurance policy for clients of mine. And I'm not going to name companies, but I was told that I've actually paid out the most critical illness claim out of that company.
Wow.
And when I've actually delivered checks to people in hospital, when I went to sit beside their bed and watch them drink through a straw and tell me that,
Wow.
you know what, I only have 3 months,
Mm.
or thank you for this check, because without this, I would have to close my business. It was those moments that got me motivated. And when young people, older people, doesn't matter the age, based on the stats, that was what actually motivated me. I've never encountered cancer in my lifetime, knock on wood. Thank God for health and strength. But paying out those checks and seeing those people, and actually attending some of those funerals and looking at the family. I was the only guy going in there handing a check. And I said, you know what? Why not? It's a worthy cause. And those were the clients that actually got the checks, supported me over the years for fundraising. So they were
Wow.
motivated also because they watched their loved one pass. And there were times when some of the loved one that passed, they couldn't even show the face of them because of the deterioration.
Correct. It is
If I
nasty,
could
man.
jump in there, if I could jump in there, I'm glad that Harry you mentioned that, because one of the things that was really quite known with Harry while we were at the institution and he was doing the writing and I was doing the pretend write, is that Harry's clients were top tier of the people who were actually donating, or the donors. Is that they were top of the list, and I think
Mhm.
it's because of that relatable. They can, what's the word I'm looking for? They related to it because they actually went through it.
Yes.
It was their family member, it was them. And so I think one of the things that we always admired at the branch is that a lot of Harry's clients were coming back and they were the ones that was actually supporting and making some sizable donations. And I think that in itself is highly commendable.
Definitely.
Thank you, Michelle. She's right on point there, because a lot of the donors that actually donated were the ones that I've delivered checks to. And when they look at their investment portfolio and how the money's growing, and I said to them, look, are you comfortable with making a donation on behalf of so and so? And they can relate to the cause.
Right.
And it was like right there, it touched them. So thanks to those people who also really, really, believe in the cause and supported me over the years. And Michelle had mentioned, yes, we have actually raised over 40 million Guyana dollars over the years, and that's 15 years, 16 years later, and hopefully we can make a difference for Guyana.
Yeah,
Create the awareness.
definitely.
And you had mentioned about earlier about being exposed to Guyana, the culture, the education, and the awareness. It is very key. Free education in Guyana is a big step that the president is taking a step towards. And I think we look at things like, we live in North America. You see in the school system, they have little posters saying no to this, no to that. no to this, know when your rights are being violated. It broadcasts, it publicized everywhere. If we can start in the school educating little kids, you know, have a little poster there, get it into the
Mhm.
teacher, and educate them to be aware of these things. And
Yes.
if they go home and their parents are not aware, they could say, Mom or Dad, you know
Yes.
what? This is not right. Think about it's
Yeah.
education and awareness. And I'm hoping that some way, in a small way, we can actually get this out there.
Yep.
Yeah, and
That
you're
ties
so
into what I
right.
was saying earlier. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But you're so right about, planting those seeds, because just posting those little things, it plants seeds. And even, sometimes the parents might come into the schools, not for anything like that, but they'll see those little posters and they'll acknowledge it and say, hey, that's something that I want to know more about. Even having those little brochures or these little workshops into the schools as well, educating the parents, because that's something that I thought about too. This is going into schools, educating the parents, because a lot of them, like you mentioned earlier, Trevor, is that the parents are not aware of their behavior. They're not,
Hmm.
it's that they were conditioned this way for a very long time. So it's going to take a lot for them to revert. And um, it's going to take some time. It's going to take patience. It's going to take, and I think, once you start planting those little seeds in kids, it's like my daughter, I mean, we're churchgoers. We go to church, and then she has family that doesn't go to church. She would go and she spread the word to them about Jesus because she believes in Jesus. So
Right.
it's once you plant those little seeds into them, they start sowing those seeds into others. And I think that's a big deal. That's why,
100%.
yeah.
When the parents are involved in the kids learning, the parents also learn, not just the kid. When the kid comes home, they
Yeah.
bring knowledge and they spread it to the parents. As long as they're interacting with their kids, not just come home, do your homework, go to bed, here's some
Yeah.
food and that. But if, hey, what did you learn today? What new did you? And the kids come, hey, mommy, daddy, guess what I learned today? I learned a new
Yes.
word. It's called cancer. And it's like, what do you mean? And the conversation starts, but you have to start somewhere. That
Yes.
ties into what I was saying earlier. We can spread the knowledge and let it trickle down and change a generation, change
Yes.
the curse of ignorance that's so rampant in Guyana, and people will learn and evaluate like 10 years from now what you guys are doing. And I'm hopefully everything's going to work and I'll be a full part of it. We can make a difference. Someone will come up one day and say, hey, Harry, guess what, I saw you on Let's Chat with Trevor and Michelle, and
Mhm.
keep my Shandi.
Shandi. Yeah.
Shandi, okay, got it right. And Shandi, and guess what? It changed my life, and I've been great after that. I got a bicycle, we're fighting cancer and all of that. But we can start something from this and go on and on and on. And I think, if everything, like I always keep saying, everything works out. But if everything comes together, we can do it for next year. And like Shandi was saying, there is an issue with violence in that island. We are the CARICOM Business Network. CARICOM means the entire Caribbean. So we're
Yes.
going to go to Jamaica, we're going to go to Trinidad,
Oh
we're going to go
yeah.
all over and build an awareness. These are
Mhm.
the kind of thing. This is why the platform exists, not just to push the narrative of business and business marketing. We also have entertainment people. But this, I'm very passionate about this. Bringing this in. This subject needs to be had in every single household. On top of that, there's also cancer prevention that people can do. Not just wait until you get diagnosed and then you start looking it up. There's foods that you can stay away from. You got to take a healthy look at yourself, because not everything that you eat is actually good for you. Some of it contributes towards cancer. It's so much. But one little step starts, and then another one comes, and another one comes, and one of these days, I hope it can happen that we're cancer free in this world.
And that's what Perry's been fighting for, at least to have that awareness and the research to continue. And that's what we're going to drive into Guyana with this gender-based violence. And I agree with everything that both Shondi, yourself, Trevor, and Harry as well said, I think if we start from the schools as well, if we put the information in there. And, back in the day, we had something called Thought for Teens. And I remember Thought for Teens to this day. And, we learned some things from it, the basic of the human, anatomy, male, female, etc. But it stuck with us. And the reason why it stuck is because it was taught. We had, a little book with little designs in it, etc. It's the same concept. If we do these little things and we get to shift that needle a little bit at a time, and we plan to do this every year. We're going to do this every year, and we're going to rely heavily on the CARICOM Business Network to get the word out there for us as well, and to get us
Yes.
aligned with places like we're trying to reach Mr. ARD. I've sent him an email. We want to have visit Guyana. Anybody out there that is listening, and could get us in touch with anyone that is interested in fostering this. My intention when I get back to Guyana, the Minister of Human Services had said she wasn't able to meet, obviously because of Parliament. She wanted to meet the next week, but I was headed back to Guyana, to Canada. This time when I go back, the intention is to get that meeting, and also if I can get in touch with the Minister of Tourism, because that's going to play a vital role in
Yes.
Mr. Harry's ride. We do need to have as many people, ministries as well as the general public, on board so that we can make this a really big, impactful awareness event.
Yeah.
Of course. It takes a village. That's my favorite saying. It takes a village. And we're going to try our best. Like you say, you're going to reach out to, I think ARD would be a super improvement because he's super popular. You can't turn on YouTube without seeing ARD was here, ARD doing that. So if we get involved, that'll be phenomenal. But the rest of Guyana, too, we are, we're doing our part here. We just need to get more people to be aware of it. And I think if you do get the Minister of Tourism on board, that will be phenomenal. So shout out to anybody watching if you have connections with the Ministry of Tourism or the tourism minister. Just, I think it's a female, right? I think it's
Minister of Tourism and Minister of Human Services, Dr. Prasad. Dr. Prasad and I are to talk. We were supposed to. We didn't get an opportunity to, like I said. So my hope is
okay.
this trip around, we do get that opportunity to have this discussion because it's very important. And like I mentioned last year, she did message and asked if we can create our orange wall, and we did, with Shondi leading that initiative. And there were flyers that were created basically, I think, every 48 hours. And we featured every member of our team, male and female, because the male is just as much needs to be featured. Gender-based violence, when we think of gender-based violence, we think of the women, but there are men that are actually impacted negatively as well. And we need to
Yeah.
make sure that we include them in the conversation as well.
If I can jump in for a minute there, Trevor, Michelle, Shondi, Trevor, you mentioned something about village, and it triggered something that I like to share. Um, I remember as a young boy back in Rosal Town, Quarantine, Berbice, when the late Dr. Chetty Jagan was running for Prime Minister against Fort Guarno in Guyana. In Berbice, where the Rosal Arch is today, right across there, he was standing on a tractor trailer promoting the PPP party. And I was a little boy, and I
Mm.
stood there, and I remember that. And that stayed with me until today.
Wow.
And you mentioned the village thing. And when I went back to Guyana 3 weeks ago, and I was listening to a parent abusing a young girl, and I'm thinking, if we can educate one girl, that will make a difference in a family. A
True.
family can make a difference in a village. A
Yeah.
village can change a whole town,
True.
and so forth and so forth. Because me, as a little boy, remember that little thing until
Hmm.
today. And that's
Right.
why I also told Michelle one of my stop will be at the Arch in Rosal, because that's where I'm from. That's where our memory, and it will be, you know, taking that forward. So education, awareness, one person at a time.
Right. That's it. One person at a time. It just takes a spark to create a fire to burn the whole world down. I mean that metaphorically, of course.
Metaphorically, we'll take that.
Awesome. Awesome. So let's talk about, okay, let's switch off of that for a little bit. Let's put the hot seat back on Harry. So, Harry, tell us about yourself. Like, early days of Harry growing up. You already mentioned the Rolls All thing, Cherry Jag and the PPP. Give us a little bit of leeway from that until when you left Guyana. You said you left in the 80s. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I left in the 80s, came to Canada, and as a young boy, I think most of the immigrants that actually left Guyana in the 80s understood that when they leave Guyana, they have to make or try to be someone or something for yourself. Um, and it goes back also to the education thing. In the early 60s and 70s, my parents, because of their education, also, they were not, you know, with the gender thing, had experienced some of that. Coming to Canada actually changed that, and being exposed to the awareness of so many different things. And for me, I was like driven by, how do you say, looking for an opportunity, looking to find myself as a young man, looking for a career choice. And it was always like, okay, I'm not happy with this. I could do better. I'm not happy with it. I'm a lot smarter. And I'd push myself and I'd push myself. And eventually I got involved in the financial service industry. And it was a commission based job. And it was one of those things where nobody wants to be on commission. And it drove me um, for myself and my family financial independence, to be liberated from looking on the right side of the menu when you go into the restaurant than the left side. Look at the left side. If you want to have this, you have this. And one day at a time, it drove me. And 30 years later, I became a financial advisor, branch manager, recognized. And I did a little Google research the other day. AI even has me on there.
Yes. I did a little
You type
research
my
on
name and
you.
AI pulls me up. Yes, and I'm like, whoa. And so it drove me, and that perseverance really what got me to where I am. And the ride when I started it in 2015, also persevering, health, lifestyle, kind of made me, you know, ride and become who I am. And I said, you know what, as long as I have health, I'm going to do this. I also research riding, and it's actually
Mhm.
one of the best sport you can actually do that will keep you sharp as a whistle cognitively and in so many
Physical,
ways.
yeah.
I'm good at physical. There's so many things. You got to be alert. And I'm like, I'm doing this as long as I can. So hope that
Cool.
answers some of your question, long winded.
Yep, yep. And AI also told me that you won the polka dot competition also. Tell us about that.
Well, basically, it's a replica of Tour de France.
Oh,
You
really?
Yes, Tour de France, they have the climbing process, and so many riders will achieve that. So Princess Margaret adopted that, whereby the ride every year has about 5,000 riders. And when they start the fundraising, the first 10 riders that will achieve the highest amount of funds would get that polka dot jersey. And
Mm.
it's only 10 riders. And I actually, the first year, 2015 was my first year. I won it. The second year, I won it again. The third year, I won it again. And the fourth year, I
Nice.
won it again. And I became their poster boy. And then I said to
Wow.
myself, you know what? 4 or 5 times in a row, that's enough. Let somebody else have fun with this. And I just so it was like, and that was because of the support from the client. So that's how
Right.
I won it. So they used me as their poster boy and the campaign and what have you. It's all over there. So that's some of where that came from.
Awesome. So let's switch gears to the ride now in Guyana. Will there be some sort of prize, or is just a community come together kind of thing, or is there going to be, something to look forward to from anyone that's going to participate?
Well,
Well,
I could take that one, and then Harry can take
yeah, go
take his
ahead.
part. I want to say that one of the things that we want to do, and we're kind of hoping, Trevor, that you will be instrumental in this in some capacity, given that you do use this kind of platform, a journalistic platform. So we're kind of hoping that you'll bring that out again, and we're kind of hoping that you will encourage other people as well that may be in the same space, because one of the things that we need to do with this ride, Harry has been so kind as to map out where he wants to ride. He's very headstrong, so I'm not going to fight with him on anything because he's the person doing the riding. So he's mapped out where he would like to ride, and obviously we also are trying to see if we can have some input from ministries in order to clear for him to get to ride safely to CJIA. And but that's all part of looking after the optics and and logistics of the ride. But in terms of the day of the ride, what we're hoping to have is, not what we're hoping to have, what we will have is points where we have people like yourself, like I'm saying, journalists that could bring a bit of excitement, whether it's social media, whether it's the television, maybe use NCN or whoever is available, and have that at the different checkpoints. And I think that's going to bring that kind of awareness. We also want to make sure that we have some community engagement in the sense that we invite people to come out and kind of and give Harry the support and that kind of push off, if you will. And obviously we want to involve the community as well in having local nurses to ride along and local security to ride along as
Yeah.
well. And when we say ride along, we're talking they're not doing the entire, not ride, they'll be in an actual, vehicle, car, whatever the case might be. But just be there as a bit of like, if there's something needs to be done, Mr. Harry needs a little bit of a rub down, something like that, we can get that taken care of very quickly so that he can continue on his race. Because Guyana has some interesting terrain. And so, Harry is very fit, but there are some rough terrain that I think that he will have to handle. So we want to make sure that everything is done really quite well and that he is taken care of when he does the ride, as we do the awareness part of things. Sorry,
Yeah.
Harry, go ahead, please.
Awesome. The Minister of Tourism is Michelle Rodriguez. I'm sorry, Susan Rodriguez.
Oh, it's
Little
okay.
far
No,
from
I
my
don't think it's
screen.
Michelle at all.
Yeah. I got stuck on Michelle. I'm sorry. It's Susan Rodriguez. So if anyone knows her, feel free to reach out to us, get in touch with her, let her know we're trying to do something great for the community, bring awareness, and if she can work with us with specifically Michelle, Harry, just reach out to us. Let's work together. I've had quite a few people on the show that's willing to do stuff in Guyana, but we haven't got the feedback and the momentum. I think we're still young in the show, but eventually, I think once we start get established, we can have an open door and have people that want to bring something positive to Guyana and Guyanese. That it will be, something that we can consistently do and bring an awareness, educate people, elevate people's life. Anything to make anyone better, I think should, get a spotlight, and
Definitely.
that. I do, like you just said, me working with you guys, I do have some people I'm definitely going to reach out to. I have some fanatic friends. They got bicycles that worth $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. I can't understand that, but when they get into the
Okay, I'm sorry,
fiber
Trevor.
and
Trevor, can I just jump in here for a second and ask you to ask Harry, what is the total cost of all of his bikes?
oh god,
Please.
let's not get
I
into that
can't
before we get in
disclose that,
trouble.
Michelle. I
Yeah,
can't disclose that.
that's trouble right
Let's
there.
I
just
know
say,
he's
let's
not
just say,
that.
let's just say I started with a carbon fiber and aluminum rim, and the bike is fully carbon fiber. That was 15 years ago, and I've upgraded to several bikes, but I still have all the original bikes. So I can't disclose that information on here.
I know you cannot disclose that information because he said 4 or 5 thousand, and I'm laughing here because the first time I heard someone in the office that was doing the ride with Harry said to me, "Oh, I'm going to pick up my bike today. I'm so excited!" And I said, "Oh, really? How much is your bike?" And he said 5,000, but that's a cheap one. I was like, "I'm sorry, what?"
I think if you're an avid road cyclist and you really love the sport, you know what a bike would cost. I mean, I've had
Right.
one other rider who, Michelle, we talked about inspiring people to become passionate about something, and this was about the sport. One of my colleague, who's actually my long riding buddy that comes up and we ride quite a bit, and he had a hip surgery, and he was riding average and we rode together, and one day we had this conversation. I said, well, how do you feel about cycling? He goes, well, when I cycle my hip feels better. And I said, well, it's a health thing, right? And are you worried about the money to purchase the bike for your health? Why don't you just
Mhm.
buy the bike and see how it feels? And as a financial advisor, he juggled with that a little bit. Well, do I want to spend this money for? And lo and behold, he actually bought the bike. He got two bikes now. And he goes, when the weather is like we have in North America, I can't wait to go outside to ride my
Right.
bike because
Mhm.
I'm so, every time I come back, I feel so good. And when he had that surgery, he said his recovery time was so much better and faster because of the cycling.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's awesome. So I would say that was a good investment. It was never a liability to begin with because it did make you
yeah,
feel better.
I'd say, yeah, absolutely.
It is. One of my friend got into a very, very bad car accident. What the doctor told him is faster recovery is definitely, water aerobics. That's universal. But do a lot of cycling in the gym. Go to the gym, get on a bicycle. It works everything. And
Mhm.
then, I mean, the cognitive, you're there, you don't have to move. But when you're out on the road, the streets, you got to be prepared to move and, groove. You got to keep your head in the game. Physically, you're working, but mentally, you're also working. So I can understand what he's saying. For a doctor to recommend cycling, like you're working your entire body there. So yeah, I totally believe that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've had my share of injuries over the years. I've rode with, actually, if I can mention freely, a my actually trainer who's a UCI world champ in Canada, representing Canada for men over 55. And we rode together for a number of years, and he trained me. And I had actually a fall with him, and he was trying to pick me up while I was falling. So
Oh,
that was
wow.
quite interesting. So yeah, I mean, it is a good sport. It is a good fitness thing.
Now I'm being
Yeah.
inspired. I need to go get a bike.
Awesome. Let me just take a quick second to give a shout out to Mahika Meadows. They have a launch event coming up on June the 13th from 12 to 2 p.m. in Orlando, Florida. It's going to be the West 5959 Banquet Hall. Guys, go check it out. Mahika Meadows is developing a huge land down there in Guyana. They're bringing the United States and Canada style properties down into Guyana. There's gated community, and if you see some properties, they are displayed. They're bringing high end. It's luxurious living for people who are interested in getting, a property in Guyana where you don't have to worry about all the amenities. It's literally living like you're living in the United States, Canada, the UK, all of that fun, those different places back to Guyana. They're developing plots of land down there. So they have an event down in Orlando, Florida on June 13th. Please go ahead and check them out. You can go to the website, mycomedos.com, to sign up. So, yeah, just wanted to put that in real quick. All right. Go ahead, Michelle.
Okay, so why are you guys putting me in the hot seat? I was waiting for you to say something beyond that, Trevor. But anyhow, I'm gladly
I
taking over
can.
the hot seat because
Good question.
because I'm a little bit of a chatterbox, so I'm glad to take it over. But I just want to say that first of all. Thank you very much, Trevor, for doing this. I think it's
No worries.
fantastic.
No
And
worries.
thank you to Shiv as well for doing this. And, Shiv and I, as you know, we mentioned this before, we worked together on the Guyana Independence Festival Committee. And I'm sure he's going to mention this. We have our gala coming up. I want to be able to have Mr. Harry Kamlasaran and his beautiful, beautiful wife Rosie to be there at that event as well, so we can put them up in the spotlight and showcase that Harry's going to be there. So for anyone out there that's listening, we've got more of where this is coming from. We're going to keep putting this out there. We have it in our newsletter that is coming out. I have a great suggestion today from Trevor and Shiv to have a drop down on my website that will say, you know, um, Ride for Hope Guyana. And so we'll be able to direct people there. We'll be able to direct people to Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and every which way, because Shandi and her team, they are going to make sure that we are well publicized. And in so doing, we're going to give Mr. Harry the due respect, because the man has got endurance, and he is, like I said, a fundraising extraordinaire. So for my part, I'm going to end on that note and say, you know what, if you're hearing this, you're out there. This is a phenomenal cause. This is a cause that should have years and years and miles of repercussions, and we're hoping positive repercussions, things that we can all learn from, develop, grow, and watch our communities just learn and expand and be safer. And I think, when we have that, when we have people being able to feel safe, I'm gonna tag off of the women chambers. They had this moniker that they talk about being safe and seen and supported. Part of the this whole gender based violence right we're doing is to bring that level of awareness, is to have people feel safe, is to have people feel secure, is to have people feel supported. And we don't want a band-aid effect. We want it to be full coverage and
Yeah.
full recovery. And for us to do that, I agree with what you all said. We have to start from ground zero, and that is in the classroom, from the little ones to the not so little ones, and to keep getting the word out there. And I think Mr. Harry Kamalasan is just the guy to help us bring that to the front line.
Definitely. Well said. Any last words? I know it's 7:58. Time flies when you're having fun. Any last words, Mr. Harry?
Well, I thank you, Trevor, for having
No
me on
worries.
the show. Michelle for putting this together. Shandi for coordinating in the background. You all have done a wonderful job, and I thank you for this opportunity to be able to start a little scratch on the surface of Guyana to make a difference if I can, and to get this awareness out there from the little kids in school to the adults. And as much as we can put it out there to reach people, it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take time, but we have to start somewhere. So I appreciate the platform tonight and looking forward to the ride, which basically training starts like yesterday.
Awesome. Shandi, you're up.
So I just want to, like everyone said, thank you so much for the
No
opportunity.
worries.
And just like that, Harry is bringing me to Guyana for the first time. So that's awesome. So I'm looking forward to the ride and the experience to explore a bit more of Guyana. I'm always hearing about it, so it'd be very nice to go there, see what it's like, experience more of its people, and most importantly, their food.
Definitely. Prepare to fall in love in Guyana, FYI. But with that being said, let me just put it off. Guys, if anyone of your family members has been touched by cancer, this is, something that's it's right up that path. We're trying to bring awareness. There's multiple things that, as you can heard over the conversation for the past hour, we're trying to build awareness for something bigger that's bigger than all of us. Harry's spearheading this. He's super passionate about it. He's been in it forever. He's put the time in, put the work in. He's now taking himself from the comfort of his home all the way to Guyana to build an awareness. He's putting in the work. The least we can do is support him. So October the 24th is the time. We'll be in Guyana. More details to follow. You can go ahead and check out michellemosley.ca for more details. As it comes along, the information will be flooded to you guys. I think they're almost secured the spot where he's going to ride to beginning to end. Anyone in Guyana who wants to contribute, stand up on the line. I remember one time when Amitabh Bachchan went to Guyana, the roads were filled both sides with people, and they're just waiting. Let's make that happen for Harry. Anyone who wants to come and shout out for anyone in Guyana who's into the streaming business, would love to have that on board. I will try my best to be down there, see how much I can support, and try to get the word out, spread the word. Make it an exciting event, make it interactive, so people can take a picture, snap it up. Hey, Harry just passed here. This is the 1 mile or the 20-mile check mark. He just passed here, and make it interactive, make it fun. It's for a good cause, people. So take the time out, go ahead, support as much as you can. More details to follow on michellemosley.ca. Check out the website for all the fun and exciting events. Now, we went over 801, so like all good things, it must come to an end. But I want to thank you guys for taking the time out of your busy schedule to spend the time with us to talk about, all the fun things that you guys have planned. I really do appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And Michelle, like I said the last time, you're welcome here anytime. And Harry and Shondi, you guys come back here. Let's meet. It doesn't have to be for an hour. It could be just for 10 minutes with the updates as things go along from now until October 24th. Let's hop on here for a little bit, tell the people about all the new excitement, things that are happening. The more people that, starting support, because people once you get the traction and this one see that one's involved, they're going to want to be involved too. So let's make it interactive. Let's get them on board. Let them be a part of the process. Let's start this as the beginning, and September 24th will be the end. Let's start something like that. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
Definitely agree.
100%. And that's October 24th. And one little tiny
Fantastic.
correction, michellesmosley.ca.
Michelle S. Mosley. Okay. Good catch. And guess what? FY, thinking ahead, we're going to Grenada next.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you, Trevor.
No worries.
Gandhi,
Bye.
and the audience out there for lending us a listening ear. I really appreciate the time tonight.
Fantastic. Well, thank you guys for joining. I do appreciate it. Have a wonderful evening, guys.
All right. Take care.
All right. Take
Good night,
care.
everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Awesome, guys. There you have it. Great, exciting conversation here from Michelle S. Mosley. You can check her out at michellesmosley.ca. She has the website there. She is very important person in the financial world. Go check it out. More information to come on Harry and his project that they're working on for Guyana. That's going to be on October 24th. Just a quick shout out to all the people in Guyana watching, people on TikTok. Not too sure about how the TikTok thing's going, but thank you guys for joining me. I do appreciate it. Here's Trevor saying happy Tuesday evening. Take care. Have a great week ahead. God bless.